Everyone, thank you for listening to my presentation. This part is a video to show you the languages in programming and the ways I program. This video will cover two parts in the first lab of Engineering 101. Engineering 101 is the basic requirement of programming for every engineer in the College of Engineering. The first part of this lab is to introduce the terminal. The Linux terminal is your portal to getting the computers to do what you want. You will use it to navigate, compile, and run your developed programs. Okay, to be specific, terminal is the language environment for us to program. So I'm in the terminal now. You can read your lab material to have an idea of what I'm doing. First, the first command is pwd. pwd is to show the directory I'm in. You can see I'm in afsumich.edu user dy Dylan Liu desktop. And the second command listed here is ls. It is to list the contents of the current directory. So here there are the documents: introduction to Arduino.pdf, lab6 part3.eno, and project7.pdf, kind of these things. And right now I want to go back to the previous directory, so I need to use cd. So cd dot dot means go back to the directory. Let's pwd. So before I'm in Dylan Liu desktop, but after cd dot dot I'm in Dylan Liu. Let's list what is in this directory. There are more things. And because I'm going to the engineering 101, so cd engineering 101 list. So I'm navigating in this terminal, and okay, because of the time limit, the last command of part 1 that I'm going to introduce is mkdir. Mkdir means to create a directory in the current directory. So let's make an example. mkdir English 125. Let's see. So before, there's no directory named English 125, but after, there's one here. Of course, it's empty in yet because I just created one for it. The first part of this lab is the basic in programming for us to locate different files in the computer. You can move, create, or delete files in the Linux terminal using these commands. Okay, let's move on. The second part of this lab is to write easy codes. Our goal is to print hello world on the screen. A program is divided into three parts: write, compile, and run. Write, the first part is the write. Write just means to write codes. Also in the terminal. Let's go to the lab. cd lab list and cd lab1 list. Okay, because I've finished this lab, so there is a file called lab1 part1.cpp. This cpp file is the codes I write in part 2. We can first write it, just gedit. Oh, by the way, the formula for writing is to write gedit file name and end. So gedit just means to edit this file, and I write file name here. Okay, it opens. So the code here is the content in this CPP file. We can see that on the first line, include IO stream. This is called library in C++. There are many codes already exist in computers. We need to borrow these codes from the library so that the terminal will recognize them. In this program, we use cout to give output. Output just means the things that will be printed on the screen. And also we have input, but in this program we don't need it. These codes are in the library called IOStream. So if we want to use cout, we need to borrow it from IOStream. So that's why we have it here. And the second line, we can see that it's using namespace standard. The languages in computers are complicated. Normally, after cout, we need to print std. But to let the program easily be understood, we just write using namespace standard here. So every line will be added std automatically when during the execution. Okay, and after that, you can see this part. This part is called functions and procedures in C++. There have been many different functions or procedures in C++ programs. They have different usage and can work cooperatively. This is just like many cells in our brains. Every cell has its own job, but they are connected to achieve some goals. In C++, main function, this part is used to connect every part. But in this program, there's only one function used, so we don't need any other functions or procedures. If you have some questions about what the difference is between function and procedure, the answer is functions return an output, but procedures do not. Okay, and this line, cout hello world, endl. This part is the code that is used to print out hello world. endl just means to return a new line. And the return 0 here is used to end the main function. It does not print out anything, it does not print a 0 on the screen, but it is just used to tell the computer that, alright, this is the end of the function. And these curly braces are used to include what the content is in the main function. Okay, so this is right. Wait a second. Okay, the second part of writing code is to compile. So the formula for compile is g++, the cpp file -o executable name. So compile, in order for the machine to understand and execute what you have written, you need to translate your application into machine code. To do this, you use a translator, and formerly known as a compiler. It is a compiler because it does a bit more than translate. So to be easily understood, compile just means to translate what you have written to the languages in computers. So just write g++ lab1 part1.cpp -o. Let's name it lab1 part1. Done just means it finished. It's quick. And the last part is run. So right now we are going to see what will happen. The formula is dot splash lab1 part1. Okay, it just print out hello world. It corresponds to the results we expected. So you can see hello world on the screen. So far, this is the working way of C++ and basic programming. There are many complicated codes and principles waiting for programmers. But my introduction here is just to let you know the languages in it. Thank you for watching.